Well, hello, my darlings. Back now for another play session. And I have made some very interesting embossed pieces. Hold them a bit. For the Nevermore. And really pleased with how some of these have come out. Bit of an experiment, really messy. And all of these are made from toilet roll. So stick around and hope you enjoy. So for you, back in a tick. Right, I've got the camera on tonight and I want to make a mess. I want to make some messy fun. So I did prep some of these in advance, but I want to show quickly how it works to make the embossed pieces out of toilet roll. So I've just taken a brand new roll of toilet roll and I've torn off 5 links like that are about 2 squares long, because that fits in my machine. You can overlap them, but I'm going to do these to fit inside an embossing folder. This technique, I find, works really well with some of the more detailed 3D folders that have a tendency to crack your paper. They work really well using this technique. So the embossing machine is here. So let's get these plates out and get rid of those. So only need the top one. Yes, I believe 3D textures, you only use the top plate. So all I'm going to do is, stay on camera for one, is take each piece and lay it down in the folder and mist it with some water. This is like an old body mist bottle that I keep in my craft area with just water in it. So mist it with water, pop the next layer on, and mist that one. I hope everybody out there is doing all right. I'm enjoying this creep on June, but I'm a bit concerned about those wax seals that are in there at the moment, because they're causing so much bulk on the pages. So I don't know what I'm going to do with those yet. But I'm just going to keep going and we'll address it at the end. More water. The last one on. And another mist of water. So you want it quite damp, but not so wet that it's going to disintegrate. So tuck that in. And these are always fun to try to get through the machine, aren't they? The 3D ones. Let's have a go. Slide it around. And come on, please. Oh, there we go. There we go. And I'm going to give it a little bit of an extra once over. And all that water is going to squeeze out on the end. Wait for it. Always hold it. I've had one of these shoots across the room before. Oh, there we go. Scared the life out of me when it shot out of the end of the machine. So there we go. Now it's difficult to see when it's still just white. Try to hold it up and move it around a little bit. But the texture is just absolutely brilliant. Now I'm going to pop that away to dry. And when I normally make these, I do them and leave them sit overnight. So I just do them and just put them somewhere to dry, and they're bone dry the next day. So pop that away a minute. Pop this away. If I can reach. My water. And these are the ones that I made a couple of days ago. So I've got like a wood grain one, a few other sort of floral ones, that's fine. I've got a tree pattern and a sort of wallpapery kind of pattern. So I need to set up now my table. Well, let's just do it now. Yeah. Chop some of these extra bits off. Not all of it, just most of it, just to get it out of the way. That one's already off. And I want to set up, I've got a bunch of inks and sprays and things out, and see how super grungy I can make these. And I've sprayed them before. Well, I think Penelope and the Eglantine Journal, I think I only used ink on these. So let's have a go spraying them and see what kind of results we can get. So I've got my mixed media towel. That is going here to protect what's back there from spray. And then I've got some, some of my sacrificial papers that I use for paint, ink, I clean stencils off on them, but I just want to use these and just keep grunging them up, really. Make sure they get flipped, so I'm getting some of those whiter sides. And I will have a project with these one day. I've got a little stack of them growing. So, let's see, what should we try first? Let's try that, let's try that one first. And that is just a, what's the word? Damask, I think is the right word. Got all kinds of weird shadows going on tonight. That's odd. So, and then get a wipe out ready. I have seen the baby wipe technique, but I haven't used that yet. But I've got my inks out, so we'll see. I've got some of my homemade sprays. So there's a purpley one. Not sure how good these are. And a green. That's a nice Frankenstein green. There's one that's a little bit darker. And there's a brown in there. The wrong kind of brown. What else have I got? Marmalade. Oh, there's another darker one that I tried. So let's try going in with this darker green first. Or lighter green. Sorry. I am going to just fast back and forth. Come on. Wake up. And for these, I've used watercolor paint and water. And you can buy those stainless steel ball bearings to be your agitators in there. But if you don't have those, if you've got any glass beads, those work. No, that sprayer's gone. These are just cheap bottles from Amazon. Whoa. Because I know once I get them grungy in color, that I'm going to be able to go back and highlight the embossed effect with a bit of wax or a bit of something. Ooh, I quite like that. Spray a little bit darker on the bottom. And then I thought, as an experiment now as well, where is that acrylic ink? I've got some like proper re-inker bottles that I found at a, this is just pure ink. I found it at D-Stash. But I thought as well, with these acrylic ink bottles that I found in the range, let's try a bit of blood splatter or drops. Or is that too red? Because it is quite thin. Do I leave that dry then? Or do I hit it with water? Or hit it with this? Where's the water gone? It is. It's just running, isn't it? That's fine. And I didn't get anything out to put these on to dry. It's alright. Give me a sec. I'm going to find something to put this on to dry. And I'll pop back on. So give me a sec. Right, and I've gotten a tray set up behind me. And I've grabbed some more of these old papers. Oh, they're stuck together. Come on. Because this is going to get quite wet. So all these can just sort of stack on top of each other as I'm working. And we'll just see where it goes. Now let's try this one. Now this one is one of those embossing folders that I've always struggled with on paper, because where those deeply embossed bits are, the paper always cracks. It doesn't matter how wet I get it. So I did find a homemade teal one. I think that was back when I did Nightmare Fuel. So let's try a small bit of that green. Or is that the one that's dodgy? That's the dodgy one. Sorry, try this one. I just need to take them apart and give them a good clean. And then go back in with a bit of that teal. Oh, come on, work. Well, that's a little bit too minty, isn't it? Nope, not for this. Or maybe it'll darken as it dries, but that looks very bright to me. Or is it because it's got white behind it? And, ooh, what else have I got going on here? I've got more of that marmalade. I don't want lemonade. More violet. Preserves. They're all within a certain color range. I've bought them secondhand. Maybe a bit of that green. Let's try it on here first. Whoa. Nope, that's a bit... Nope, that's too green. I want it darker than that. Weathered wood. Let's try that. Oh. That just completely stopped. What's up with that? Oh, splattering everywhere. I'm glad I put the towel down now. Oh, come on. I just had this one as well. Right. That one is spiced marmalade, but it's a bit of a shinier one. I should put some red on there. Yeah. Go back in with and ooh, come on, one more. That's a red one. Or is that pink? No, that's pink. Is that red? I think a lot of these bottles are just completely... Ooh, yes. And leave it dry. And I'm hoping it will sort of soak through. But like I said, I've never done this before, so here goes. Another page. And let's try one more on camera. The trees. And I definitely want... Is that going to work? It's quite a pale color. Let's put that down first. Very pale. Put it down quite thick. Let's get rid of knock that white right back. And then go in with that darker green. I haven't had these bottles out in ages. I think I need to go back and take them apart now and start some over again. I don't want to do too much more now. I'll add some of this darker brown. I don't think I have any other brown ones. Only that spice marmalade, which isn't really brown. So let's try with this. Because when I go back on top of these, once they're dried, and ink them, they're really, really going to stand out. So yeah, I'm going to leave the tree one like that. So I'm going to carry on with the next few now. Sort out these bottles a bit. And I'll pop back on and check in with you. So, back in a sec. Right, my darlings, let's have a little bit of a play now. I've tidied up a bit. These are dry. I've trimmed these off. And I've left this one untrimmed. I'll show you that in a second. I did have overspray, which I've managed to clean up. But a bit of a tip, if it doesn't come off with your regular wipe, I've still got a little bit of yellow over here that I can't get rid of. But everything else came off with a makeup wipe. And I keep a pack of these in here for ink as well as any other sort of super messy play that I need to clean up. If you get the base wipes that are meant for waterproof makeup, they're brilliant. Really, really good. So no, those are dry. That one then is, it looks like it's coming, if you look, it looks like it's coming undone, but it's not. Because what's actually gone into the embossing plate is completely compressed. It's only the bit on the outside that looks like it's unraveling. Yes? So you just trim those off. So I go on the back where I can see the edge of where the embossing plate was and give it a trim. And yeah, they went, especially spraying it down, and when I went to dry them, I thought they look like they're coming undone, but they're not. And you can look at the design as well and sort of gauge the edge that you need to get rid of. So, no, all dry. That one I think was the first one. I tried that sort of wallpaper pattern one in using some black acrylic ink, and I dropped it on there, and I went to sort of turn it so it would drip down, but it didn't run. So I spritzed it with water. That's the wood one, and it actually looks like wood. The tree one, that one, I'm still not happy with that teal. It's a bit too minty, but we'll see what we can do. And that one has ended up with a little bit of sheen to it. So we'll see if we can dampen that down. So which one shall we have a go at first? Let's have a go at that one. So I've had some ink pads out. I've got strawberry for red. Green is Shady Lane. Acorn for brown. Nocturne. The Stays On is still out. And I've got a teal that is Warm Breeze. And I've got a brown over here that's a dark, dark brown. So on this one, I want to try that Stampin' Up. Again, this was secondhand. I found it in a D-Stash event. And it's quite dark. But I'm just going to take my pad and sort of gently go over the top. And some little circles to highlight the embossing. I'm not pushing down. I'm just sort of dragging it across in small little circles. Like you're buffing it almost. Sort of buff the color onto those raised, embossed bits. And all of that spraying that we've done is just the background. So it looks like there's a bit of light peeking out, because I realize now when I was spraying, because I'm right-handed, I was spraying from that direction. So you've got that bit of a light effect. Let me hold it up. Put this away first. So there's a little bit of a sort of light effect coming from that side and along the top of there because of the direction that I was spraying. So lovely and textured. I know you can't see how deep the embossing is, but quite happy with that. And I think let's try some tiny bits. I've never quite done it this way before. Very lightly in places. Add a bit of green. And maybe acorn, because acorn is a bit of a funny brown. And give it a bit of, not everywhere, just in places. Yeah. So I've got that sort of thing going on. And let's hit it with some black then. A little bit of black. Especially down the bottom. And the edges. Going quite heavy around the edges with black. So, anybody else out there done anything like this? Curious to know. Have you ever done the toilet roll before? Have you sprayed it and grunged it up like this before? To give it that sort of... Because I gotta say, even just running your hands over it, you can feel the texture. Because it's so heavily embossed. Alright, now I'm inky. There we go. Never mind. I have heard putting hand lotion on helps before you start, but I always forget to do that. So that can go away to dry. I'm quite pleased with how that color is looking. In fact, I think I would try that again next time and put richer colors down for your background and then go back and ink with black. So that was that one. That one is a little bit of, ooh, what should we try? Let's put a tiny bit of teal on there, see what happens. Ooh, I like. Just in a few places. And give that blood stain a little bit of strawberry. Yeah? No? Yeah, because I don't want pink. I definitely don't want pink in this one. And then maybe go back in with black. But even giving that red a tiny Yes, and just, I'm going to edge all of them black. Because I've kind of stuck to the Nocturne for edging everything in the Nevermore. These might get chopped up. I don't know yet. Or torn. But if I do that, I can always go back in with Nocturne on the edges. So, happy with that one. Pop that one away. And, ooh, that teal. Let's see if we can knock that back a bit. Try to speed up a bit. I don't want to be too long-winded. But, again, if you don't want to watch the sort of inking process, by all means, put me on fast forward. But I'm really curious if anybody out there has had a go with this. I'm quite liking that. I didn't get a purple ink out, but I don't think I need a purple. Do I go back in with green or black? Or add a bit of brown? But if I add a bit of brown, do I do the acorn or the espresso? I'm trying to think of the kit pages that have that teal color in them. Let's try this one. No, let's try acorn, because if acorn isn't dark enough, I can go back over the top. Yes. No, it needs the acorn on top. That's too ready. Not ready, but too red to go on top of that purple. Let's try this one then. And that's better. It's not quite black, but it's given that depth. Ooh. And then go back and edge it in black, or give it some black interest. Let's try. I'm liking this. This is quite cathartic as well, to just sit and play. Give the edges. I don't really need to do the edges now, because I may round corners, I may tear them in half, cut them in half to create different pocket sizes, shapes, but let's give it a little tiny bit for now. I'll show you the backs of these as well as I go. So no, one more I want to try with you. That one and that one I'll do off camera. That wood grain, and I swear it is so deeply embossed. It looks like a piece of wood bark, and it feels like wood bark. So let's try from the lighter side up. I want to add a tiny bit of green in places. I've done the wood bark one before, and with the toilet roll, and the difference between the toilet roll example and doing it with cardstock and paper is just chalk and cheese. The difference is phenomenal. Let's go back with acorn. And you can see the depth that you're starting to get. But spraying it is definitely the way to go forward, rather than doing it with white toilet roll. Now that was the acorn. Let's get a bit of that espresso. Step it up. That's a little bit of a darker brown going on. especially on that knot there. Do we put a bit of charring on here with black? Yes. Try a bit, a tiny bit. Ooh, what do we think? That is absolutely gorgeous. Right, to the edges, and it actually looks like wood. It feels like bark. You can feel the ridges in it, as if you're actually running your hand over bark. And you do not get that depth with regular paper at all, or at least I haven't. So no, happy with that. So let those dry, and I'll go and fuss with those two. The backs have come out interesting. That looks like it's got ghosts. Not sure about that one. Not sure about that one, but I'm going to sit and play with it. The wood went yellow on the back. That one went interesting on the back. So-so. And that one didn't go through at all. So no, that's me for the moment. And I'm going to go wash my hands. And I'll touch back in with you in a tick. Bye for now. Right, my darlings, all inked now. I think I'm going to do this as a two-parter. So I'm going to call this one part 1, and part 2 will be chopping these up and getting them into the Nevermore. So I've got that sort of tree one that's come out quite nice. Again, like I said, if I was to do this one again, I would do a different color in the background and then go back over the embossed trees with another color. That one, I've sort of knocked back the shininess a bit with some red. I went back with strawberry, and I got another red out, which is the Chianti, that wine color, and went back over that with espresso and black. That one then was that sort of, it looks like, you know, Dracula's wallpaper, so to speak. That one again was the first one we did, and the wood, I'm really happy with how the wood has come out. And then that one that's got that punch of teal to it as well. So now that's all for me for this one. I'm going to call this one part 1, and part 2 then we'll see where these can live in the Nevermore. So I hope you stick around and come back, and thank you ever so much to all the subscribers. If you've done this before, please let me know, you know, your experiences of working with this, because it's quite new to me. Last question I meant to ask in my last video was for anybody viewing in the UK. I've had a roll of this from the States the last time I was there to see family, and it's really thick, sort of webby trim material, and I bought it in either a Michael's or Hobby Lobby, and it was in the ribbon section. But I cannot source this stuff in the UK anywhere. But I don't know what to search for. Spiderweb vellum comes up, but that's not the same thing, because this stuff it's got a thickness to it. So anybody in the UK have any luck finding this, please let me know. So that's all for me, my darlings. Thank you ever so much for watching, and happy crafting, everyone. Bye for now.